Good morning, everyone. I am Parikshit, and welcome to another exciting session on Unacademy CAT-alyst. Today's session is about CAT 2020 preparation. Are you feeling demotivated? It's the case with a lot of students, and we need to talk about it for the next 20 minutes. So, as always, the first thing I'm going to tell you is let's wait for 5-10 seconds for me to make sure that I'm streaming live before we get started. Yeah, I'm streaming live. Good morning, everyone. Good morning again, and welcome to this session. So, this session is brought to you by Parikshit. I am your Quants and LRDI expert on the Unacademy platform. So, let's get started straight away with today's session. Okay. So, CAT 2020 preparation, are you feeling demotivated, right? And I would say this is the case with probably 95% of the students who are preparing, except for 5% who are eagerly waiting for the CAT. The remaining 5%, the remaining 95% must actually be feeling at least some level of demotivation. Now, first be mature enough to understand why are you feeling demotivated at this stage. Now, I should tell you one thing. I don't know if you have realized, and one thing I must tell you, this is probably one exam you are writing, probably for the first time in your life, okay, where there is no specific syllabus. No specific syllabus. So will you agree with me? I think everyone will agree with me. When I say syllabus, I would say basically no specific prescribed book as such, okay. So I will take up questions. I see there are a lot of some questions on my comments. I will take it up at the end. Okay. So first let's talk about it, and after 15 minutes, last 5 minutes, we will take up questions. Now, in your class 10, in your 12, and probably in your graduation, you had a specific book. You had previous year papers. You do them, and most certainly you will get good marks in your examination. But here, this is not the case. There is no specific book. There are no limit to the number of questions that one can practice. Even if you have practiced a chapter 10 times, on the 11th time you practice, you come up with something new probably. Now, because you come up with something new, you feel that you don't know a lot of things. You don't know a lot of things. So try to understand there is no specific syllabus, and this is true for every student who is writing the CAT. Every specific student, and you are not alone. You need to be very particular in these last few days from which source you are gonna practice. So I'm gonna talk all about it, but I would say this is the primary reason why a person feels demotivated at this stage, because every time he is a part of some WhatsApp or Telegram group, he sees a new question, he appears in the mocks, he gets a new question, and then he gets frustrated. So try to understand the primary reason, case number one. And the problem is, you know what? Worsen. Why is it worsen? By the mocks. By the mocks. Now, when I say the mocks, right? You you would agree with me that in the market there are 3-4 very popular service providers. Let's not take a name here, but there are 3-4 very good quality mocks in the market. Now, when we talk about these 3-4 very good quality mocks, anyone who is serious about the CAT must have enrolled in one of these 3 or 4. Do you agree with me? Anyone who must be preparing for CAT 2020 must have enrolled in one out of the 3 or 4 popular service providers available in the market, right? One out of the 3-4 mock service providers. Now, and then you are one among the many. You are one among the many. So first of all, it's important to understand the actual numbers. No one would tell you these numbers, because then you would feel that this is actually an easy scenario, is actually a good scenario to be in. How many students? I always love telling numbers because they give you a true picture. How many students actually write the CAT, or for CAT 2020? Around 2.4 lakh students have registered. Please get the numbers correct. Every year, this is the average is around 2.3 to 2.4. Out of these 2.4 lakhs, you know what? Only around 2 lakh actually write the exam. The remaining 40,000 would not even come to write the exam. So you have got around 2 lakh CAT aspirants, and you are one among these. Now think about it. Out of these 2 lakhs, anyone who is preparing well, how many of them are preparing really, really well? Let's take a number. Let's take a number and let's take a number which looks reliable. How many? 60,000, 70,000, 80,000 max? 80,000 people? This is again a very high number that I'm taking. 80,000, right? Preparing really, really well. These are students who are putting in a lot of effort. And again, I'm telling you, it's not 80,000. It's much below that. But just for an assumption purpose, let's take it to be 80,000. And then there are remaining 1,20,000 who has not even bothered to take enroll for a mock, or even if they have enrolled for a mock, they are not serious about it. Now, when you are writing the mock, okay, think about it. When you are writing the mock, you are actually competing against these 80,000. So probably if you have taken one of the 4 or 5 famous mocks in the market, probably 30,000 might have enrolled for that particular service provider. You are competing with the best 30,000. You are competing with the best 30,000, right? So obviously, when you compete with the best 30,000 who are writing the CAT, your percentile would accordingly vary. Your percentile would accordingly vary. Let's say you come in 15,000. You come in 15,000. When you come in 15,000, the total is just 30,000 and hence you'd be getting a lower percentile. That's the first thing. But you know what? Actually, on the exam day, you know what? These will be the additions. These will be the additions. These additions. And you know what? They're not going to get, it's not that they will do well. It's just that they will write the exam and most probably, if you are preparing well, they will be below your score. They will fare worse than you. They will fare definitely not better than you, or probably a very few out of the 1,20,000 will fare better than you. And 1,20,000, when they get added to the actual CAT numbers, right? The day the people write the exam, it's a welcome move because then your percentile will increase. Having said that, that is why first thing you should understand is if you are getting around 85 to 90 percentile in your mocks now, 85 to 90 percentile in your mocks now, you have a very, very good chance of converting this to 99 plus, 99 plus on the D-Day, 99 plus on the D-Day because of the additions of those 1,20,000. That's point number 1 that you need to take care. So if it is 85 to 90, then the distance is not much. It's just about a bit of hard work that you need to put in this last days. Okay. Now, having said that, there is another point which has become really, really important this particular year. Think about it. This particular year, unlike the last year, every section is just 40 minutes. Every section is just 40 minutes. Previously, if the difference between, let's say, the topper and let's say someone who is rank number 50, let's say the difference was, let's say, 20 points, plus 20, plus 20. This time, because the minutes is less, number of minutes is less, accordingly, this difference is also going to come down. Will you agree? If it was plus 20, probably this time it will be around plus 10 to plus 12. Plus 10 to plus 12. A difference between probably a 99 plus percentile and a 95 percentile. So how many questions are we talking about? Assuming there are 3 marks for every correct question, we are assuming 3 or 4 more questions correct. 3 or 4 more questions correct. Now, this perspective is very, very important when you are actually preparing these last few days. It's all about these last 3, 4, 5, 6 more questions that you want to score, that you want to get correct. And all the effort you put should be on making sure that you are able to solve a few more correct questions. Now, having said that, I brought out some numbers. Okay, that's point number 1 that we just talked about. The next thing that you need to realize in these last few days is the difficulty level of the mock. Okay. Now, the difficulty level of any mock, a good service provider, the 3 4s that I was talking about, is generally higher than the CAT. So these last 4 weeks, whenever you are attempting a mock or analyzing a mock, okay, please make sure that you are concentrating on the easy plus the moderate ones, plus the moderate questions. Easy plus moderate. It will be a bonus if you're able to get the difficult ones correct, definitely in a bonus. But can I please make sure that I'm concentrating on these two? Why? Now the next reason would be, why do I say so? Okay. Then Yasha is asking, with the number of questions also reduce or increase? Number of questions would reduce, Yasha, right? With the decrease in the time level. So please concentrate on the easy plus moderate. Now why I say so? Probably you have picked up a LRDI set. You know what? In the mock. And after that, even in the during your analysis, you want to analyze this LRDI mock, which is very difficult, which is actually very difficult. You know what? You spend probably 1 hour analyzing this mock, analyzing this specific LRDI set. On the contrary, if you would have looked at an easy or a moderate set, probably you could have solved at least 2 sets. Let's not exaggerate the numbers. Probably minimum 2 sets you could have solved, or in some cases you could have ended up solving those at least 3 sets in the span of 1 hour. Will you agree? So please make sure that rather than spending 1 complete hour of your precious time on in this last few days on a difficult set, leave it out, leave it out. There is no guarantee, right? Just that same set will come. Is there a guarantee? Probably there's no guarantee, and probably the probability is also very less. Rather concentrate on the easy and definitely the moderate ones, so that you are able to solve and practice more such sets. At the end, probably by the 20th, we are talking about 21st. Let's take 21st of this month. We are talking about 3 weeks from today. 3 weeks from today, right? Please make sure that it's not about 10 more mocks. 21 days. Don't try to give 10 more mocks. Absolutely no point. I am assuming by the 21st, it'll be your last mock. Last week, do not try to write mocks. Or even if you want to take a mock, probably 1 mock at the max. So I'm just concentrating on the last 21 days. The last 7 days is mostly for leisure and to revise. 21 days, how many mocks? Probably 7 mocks, 6 mocks, 7 mocks max. 7 mocks max. I'm not even suggesting you go for 7. But 7 mocks is probably max in 21 days. Okay. Again, in these 7 mocks, it's not just about these 7 is max. Please make sure that it's not 7, could be 5, not a problem. But please make sure that you must have attempted at least 8 mocks, 6, 7 or 10 mocks till this point of time. It is better if you go back and revise the already given mocks. Mocks which have already appeared. Why? Because it's no point learning something new if you do not remember what happened in mock number 1. If you do not remember what happened in mock number 1, please go back to the previous mocks and make sure that you are able to revise and analyze all questions and you know how to solve those beautiful LRDI caselets. The upcoming mocks, rather than the questions, should actually be focused on time management. Should actually be focused on time management. Do not bother about the questions now. Focus more on time management. If you still is thinking in comprehension, in reading comprehension, will I read the questions first or will I read the passage first? These next 5-10 days you should actually experiment and come up with a firm strategy. Come up with a firm strategy. Which strategy should be following? So if there is something which is not clear in your mind, you're a bit hazy. Okay, this strategy works or this works best for me. It is these 5-10 days that you actually take to actually fine-tune your strategy. Do not bother about the questions. The questions are something that I would suggest definitely that comes secondary. But time management and question selection. Time management and question selection is what you need to focus in this last 21 days. In this last 21 days. Right? The next point to analyze here, is your place in the graph. Your place in the graph. Okay? Your place in the graph is what is the next point I want you to analyze. Now, when I say your place in the graph, probably you could be somewhere in the 58th percentile. You could be in the 78th percentile or probably a 95th percentile. So you could either be here or somewhere here or somewhere here. We don't know. That is something that you know, right? So please analyze where are you standing at this point of time. Let's say you are standing in the 58th percentile or in the 78th percentile. You need to be a bit realistic. When I say realistic, I only mean to say if you are very firm about taking admission this specific year, okay, increase your probability of getting an admission into a B school this year. If you want to do that, increase your probability. How do you do that? Let's say if you are less than, let's say 80 percentile, if you are less than 80 percentile, okay, I definitely you can get a 99 percentile in the CAT. That is not a problem. But I just want to say increase your probability. How do you do that? What I would suggest is I would assume that everyone has a limited budget to spend. Limited budget to spend, right? So if you know, if you can Google it out, and let's not take a reference here live on YouTube. I'm not quoting any source. But what I would suggest is go to the B school rankings. Don't look at just one ranking. If you are looking at source A, look at source B, look at source C. If you do a comparison across 3 or 4 sources, you get to know which are the better B schools. Okay. Now, when I say better B schools, classify them. Classify them in the ranking of 1 to 10, 10 to 20, and probably at most 30 to 40. 30 to 40 max if you're very particular about getting into a B school this year. If you're scoring less than 88 percentile, okay, please make sure that you choose at least a few colleges in this category. When you are applying, please make sure that you are applying at least 2-3 colleges in 21 to 30 category as well as 30 to 40 category, and needless to say 1 to 10 and 10 to 20 you must have already applied. You must have already applied. But if there is a limited budget, okay, limited budget, and you have, let's say, IIT Bombay to apply, which is probably in 15, around 15, and probably there is another college which is ranked 30 to 40, and you are firm about taking an admission this year, please make sure that you apply for 2 or 3 colleges in this category as well. It's not that everyone will get into IIM Ahmedabad, right? It's not that everyone will get into IIM Ahmedabad. There are a lot of good B schools. If you get a 98 percentile, a college like, let's say, IMT Ghaziabad, it's good enough. It's not bad, right? A 98 percentile. But did I apply for IMT Ghaziabad? It should not be. I end up with a 92 percentile. I know I have to take admission this year, but I did not apply for TAPME, which where the cutoff is around 90, and let's say IMT Ghaziabad where the cutoff is again around 90, or let's say Ford School of Management where the cutoff is again 90. So please make sure that you apply across categories if there is a limited budget. If there is no constraint on your budget, you can apply for all B schools to increase your probability. But if there is a limited budget, apply across categories. Okay, that's the next point which you need to take a note of. The next thing that I want to speak on is CAT the only option? Is CAT the only option, or are there other examinations? Trust me, if on the 29th, you think this is the D-Day and it's a do or die scenario, do or die wala scenario, right? You are not gonna do well. You are not gonna do well. You cannot be taking pressure. You cannot be taking pressure. Cannot, just cannot. You cannot take pressure. And I don't know how many of you would relate. At least I can relate very well. And most of you probably will be. You know what? When we were in class 10, our parents used to tell us, this is the exam. You do well in your 10, get a 98, 99%. Life ban gaya. Right? 10 mein bola hoga ye cheez to a lot of you. Again in class 12, they told you the same. Your parents, your neighbors, your uncle, aunties, everyone must have told you 12 अच्छा से कर लो हो जाएगा, सब कुछ लाइफ बन जाएगा, इतना ला दो. Then came your graduation. And now probably you realize you don't even know your 10 marks. You can't even recall 12 graduation. Probably you understand those marks were nothing much, right? Do your 12 marks matter? Yeah, they give you higher weightage in the CAT, but other than that, do they matter? Not much. And trust me, CAT is going to be another exam. It is not the end of the world. It is definitely not the end of the world, right? Let's say you do not do well. Let's say you do not do well. Do you have options? Yeah. ZAT, SNAP, IIFT. There are other lesser known exams like MyCAT. I don't know how many of you know about MyCAT. It's for Mica Ahmedabad. There is Maharashtra CET. There are so many exams after that. So please, when you go for the exam, do not take a lot of pressure. No one performs well under pressure. If you can be a Dhoni, a captain, cool. Trust me, you can attempt at least 2 to 3 questions more if you keep your pressure level down. Yes, very, very, very important in this last few days. And the last point that I need to talk about is what should I do in this remaining days? These remaining days, okay, I understand is desperate about the cat. I understand is probably a part of 100 different groups on WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook and whatnot. A lot of people will come out with a doubt, okay, how to do this? Or probably you come out with this video, I have never done this before. Just ignore it. This is the time to focus on things you know. Focus on things you already know and maximize your strength. Maximize your strength. So let's say you are very good in verbal. Please make sure that these last 20 days do not ignore verbal if you're very good at it. Why? Probably you'd get a 99.9 percentile, and because let's say LRDI is your weak area, whatever less marks you get in LRDI should be compensated with your strength. The other way could be, sir, I want to clear the cutoff in all the sections. True, I definitely want you to clear the cutoffs. But you know what? If you do something you like, let's say you like verbal a lot, and if you can focus more on verbal, please do that. Do not ignore LRDI and quads. You definitely need to clear the cutoffs, but ensure that this is close to a 99 plus percentile, so that overall percentile is quite high. Overall percentile is quite high, right? So please make sure that you focus on these last days on things you know and revision. If you have done, let's say I keep repeating, elevators, clocks, installments 5 months before, and now these probably appear Greek to you, installments or probably an elevator question, it's time to revise those questions rather than trying something new. And yes, there are some very small chapters like trigonometry, coordinate geometry. Those are very small things. If you have not done them, definitely do them. Why do I say so? Because chapters like trigo, right? Then probably SICI and small chapters. If you get a question, these questions will generally be easy. There is no way they can make it difficult. Very, very easy questions. So even if you spend 3-4 hours, you are going to finish each of these chapters, coordinate geometry and so on. Make sure that you do not leave it, because at the end of the day, the difference is just about 2 questions, and probably a 99 percentile will become a 95 percentile if he attempts 2 questions less. So I think it's no point getting demotivated. If you are somewhere in the graph, the last 30 days, it's either you quit or either you move ahead, right? And I definitely want all of you to be in the second category where you move ahead, and trust me, put effort and just cross the finishing line. You have put effort for the last 7, 8, 9 months. Some of you probably for the last 1 year. It's just the final few days that you need to ensure that you do not fall back in this race, right? So any questions that you have at this point of time? This was a motivating session. I have prepared separate videos. There are separate videos on how should you prepare in these last 30 days. Please search with my name. In case you have not seen, I have prepared. There are separate videos. How should you prepare? How should you attempt the mocks in these last 30 days? I have taken a separate session. So I'm not talking about that in this particular session. At this point, tell me if you have a doubt. Yasha, what I mean to say is only clearing the cutoffs. You definitely, let's say the cutoff is 98 percentile in each of the sections. So get 98 percentile in each of the sections, and probably in one you might end up with 99.9. Or there might be a 95 percentile in one of the sections, right? Other one you can get 99.9. So that's what I meant. 99.9 is too high, but can it be 99.5? Yes. That's what I meant. But definitely you need to clear the cutoff in each of the sections. Anything else that you wish to ask at this point of time? Okay, I think this should give you some motivation to work hard in the next few days. Trust me, put the effort, 10 hours, 12 hours, but there's no point getting demotivated. At the end of the day, the only reason you're getting demotivated is your mock scores. And trust me, only the best people, when I say best, best in terms of preparation are attempting the mocks, right? So you're competing with the best, and whenever the crowd comes and writes the CAT, your scores will anyway increase. And trust me, this was very true. This is very true. So keep that in mind always. Simran, I would say CAT, if you are giving the CAT, concentrate on the CAT. There are hardly any colleges in math which are very good, Very mediocre level colleges are there. Very mediocre level colleges are there in math. So attempt the CAT and do it properly. Let's say if you don't do well in your CAT, then it would be a different issue, okay? Math college versus the CAT college that you are getting. But at this point of time, concentrate on the CAT, because math, there are very few colleges. Okay. Okay then. Thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed the session. In case of any queries, post it in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer them. If you have liked my video, do hit the like button. Okay. And I'll see you tomorrow in another session of mine. Goodbye and have a safe day. Thanks.